He told me he needed space, said he couldn't hear his own thoughts over the noise of our marriage. So I packed him a weekend bag, protein bars, flannel, his favorite hoodie, the cabin key. He kissed me on the forehead like I was the mother of a dying patient. I smiled and waved. What he didn't know was that I'd already found the phone. It was wedged beneath the passenger seat of the Highlander. No case, no lock screen, just open to a text. Alina, my soul's hungry for you. Bring that heavy energy. We'll ground it together. I didn't open anything else. I didn't need to. The air in my lungs turned flat. My chest went cold. I put the phone back exactly where I found it. Didn't say a word. Not that night, not the next morning. He'd been pulling away for weeks. Stopped touching me in passing. Stopped making coffee the way I like it. Not out of spite, just absence. He started journaling. Or said he was. One night I passed his study and heard him whispering. Not crying. Whispering. Rehearsing something. Practicing lines. I love you, but I've been pretending. You deserve someone fully present. I'm not cheating. I'm just unraveling. He told me he wanted to take a weekend to reset his nervous system. Said he needed silence, stillness, the woods. He asked to borrow the cabin, the one I inherited from my grandfather, the one where we spread his ashes by the fire pit, the one Daniel had once called a time capsule of dust and ghost stories. But suddenly, it was spiritually aligned. I didn't argue. I handed him the key. He didn't see me check the bank account the night before. Didn't know I'd found the Airbnb reservation before he suggested the trip. Didn't notice the scent of his new body wash, sandalwood and rose, still clinging to the passenger seat. The day he left, I sat in his car, turned the rear view toward me, tried to remember what my face looked like before I learned how to smile through humiliation. That night, I opened my laptop and typed her name into the search bar. Alina Rivers, wellness coach, crystal dealer, tantra practitioner, Instagram full of golden light and bare feet, voice like bathwater. I watched a video where she said, when a man says he's lost, it usually means he's found someone else. The comments were filled with hearts. One from my husband. This hit hard. Thank you for this. I made tea, turned off every light in the house, sat in the dark and whispered, me too. That was the first night I didn't cry. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I'd already begun planning. The next day, I created a burner account and signed up for Alina's mailing list. Then her Zoom group, Wild Woman Wednesdays. Then her private Telegram channel, where members shared intimate transformations. She posted a photo of my husband's hand on her thigh. No face. Just his wedding band. And the caption, Sacred Masculine Who Finally Left Survival Mode. I screenshotted everything, every heart emoji, every timestamp. But I didn't message her, not yet. I messaged someone else. His name was Grant. I found it buried in the comments on one of her older videos. An angry reply to a heart emoji. You forgot to block your husband, Alina. I clicked his profile. Saw their wedding photos. 5 years ago, a beach ceremony. He looked small beside her, but proud. His bio read, IT consultant. Trying again. I sent one message. We need to talk. I think they've been doing this longer than we know. He replied 8 minutes later. I know. Been tracking it for months. Meet in person? I agreed. We met at a diner off I-83. Neutral ground, yellow booths, no ambient music. He was taller than he looked online, calm, precise. He handed me a USB drive like it was a business card. Photos, GPS logs. I installed a tracker in her car after New Year's. I handed him a printout of the bank transactions. They used our joint account to pay for her Reiki certification. We didn't talk about feelings, just dates, timelines, devices, strategy. Before I left, he asked, you want to confront them together? I didn't answer right away, then said, no, I want to trap them together. He smiled, not with joy, with recognition. Good, I thought you might. That night, I slept deeper than I had in months. No dreams, just stillness. The kind he said he needed. I didn't need confirmation. I already had the evidence. The drive, the account logs, the photo of her hand on his chest captioned, masculine rebirth. But there's a difference between knowing and preparing. One is pain. The other is power. Her name was Alina Rivers. She spelled it with a heart in her email signature. Alina Trauma Untangling. Pleasure mentoring, ceremonial birth coach. She didn't just seduce men. She made them feel spiritual for betraying their wives. Her Instagram was full of that exact word. Wives. As if it were a diagnosis. Or a cage. I joined her digital coven under the name Nor-El No Profile Picture. No traceable email. But I paid for the premium tier. I wanted access to everything. Her welcome message arrived immediately. Welcome to the river. Here, we come home to our wild. The Telegram channel was worse. Voice notes of breathy affirmations. Photos of handwritten journal entries. Backlit silhouettes in her mirror with captions like, we are not broken, we are becoming. And then I saw it. A selfie in a foggy bathroom. A towel, 2 wine glasses. And behind her, just out of focus, Daniel's reflection in the mirror. Eyes half-lidded, hand on her hip. Wearing the necklace I gave him 3 anniversaries ago. I sent the screenshot to Grant with no caption. He replied with a location pin. Star and Field Cafe. 4 p.m. Don't be late. We sat across from each other like co-conspirators, not strangers. The USB drive he gave me at our first meeting held more than I expected. Alina hadn't just cheated. She'd done it systematically, repeatedly, sloppily. There were receipts, literal and digital, hotel folios, Venmo payments, shared Spotify playlists, an entire ritual playlist filled with distorted ambient tracks and the occasional 2000s pop song. Grant had transcribed everything, color-coded by date, location, and lie. He wasn't angry. He was surgical. "I'm not here to get emotional," he said. "I'm here to participate." We mapped out their overlap. Where Daniel lied about work trips, where Alina canceled client sessions, where they met, what they wore, who they became when they thought no one was watching. I showed him the photo from my cabin's guestbook, dated 6 weeks before Daniel ever mentioned needing space. They'd already been there. He tapped the page. We catch them there again, but we don't interrupt. We surround. I told him about the wedding photo, the dresser, the champagne, the fire pit, the fact that Daniel never once asked if it was okay to use the cabin. He assumed, like he always did, like men like him do. Grant was quiet for a moment, then said, "Let's turn the assumption into a confession." We met again in 3 days, a hotel suite near the trailhead. We made a list. Arrival date, gear load in, devices, back entry path, exit contingency. I was calm, not because I wasn't in pain, but because the architecture of betrayal was finally visible. There's comfort in the truth, even when it ruins you. Alina posted another voice note that evening. "When they say you're too much, it's because they've already decided to disappear from you." I replayed it 5 times. Grant was right. They weren't just cheating. They were performing transformation, staging their adultery like it was sacred. I messaged him, "Let's give them a stage then." The morning we drove out, I brought a silk scarf from my wedding. Daniel had tied it around my wrist at our ceremony. Now I tied it to the porch railing, loose, barely visible. We parked 3 miles out, hiked the perimeter trail, approached the cabin from the back like shadows. Grant wore all black, carried 2 cameras. I had a handheld recorder and a ceramic mug, my grandmother's. For ambiance, I told him. He didn't laugh, just nodded. The cabin was still as we entered, smelled like dust and lavender oil. We worked quickly. He placed 1 camera in the rafters above the bed, another in the corner of the living room. I swapped out the champagne with vinegar, reset the bedding, placed the framed wedding photo in the bathroom, across from the mirror, dead center. Then I opened the guest book, found their last entry, dated, signed, found pieced together. I turned the page, wrote 3 words. "You weren't alone." We set the audio recorders, charged the backups, left the porch light on, and waited. Grant leaned against the fireplace, said nothing, just listened to the woods breathe. I sat on the sofa and poured vinegar into 2 glasses, watched it bubble against the ceramic like wine. When their car pulled in, we didn't move. Not yet. Not until the right moment. I heard her voice first, high, sweet, soothing. She called him baby before the door even closed. He laughed, soft, content. She told him to close his eyes, that she had a surprise. I looked at Grant. He didn't blink. The floorboards creaked. Luggage hit the floor. A zipper opened. Then silence. Then that name again. "Baby." Grant turned on the audio recorder. No words. Just a red light. They had no idea. Not yet, but soon. I always thought revenge would feel hot. Sharp. Chaotic. But it was cold. Sterile. Quiet like a morgue before the drawer opens. We arrived at the cabin 2 hours before they did. Grant was already in recon mode. His shirt was tight, tucked. A single earpiece buzzed gently in his ear. He didn't speak much, neither did I. Words felt unnecessary now. The inside smelled like mildew and dry pine, the kind of silence that absorbs your breathing. I lit a single cinnamon stick in the hearth, not for ambiance, but for familiarity. Daniel always associated that smell with my grandparents, with legacy. I wanted him to feel it, right before I tore it from him. We moved through the cabin like contractors marking for demolition. Grant unscrewed a floorboard beneath the rug and tucked in a hard drive. I placed 2 folded towels on the bed, neutral colors. They matched her aura palette. I knew that from her Instagram. In the bathroom, I wiped down the mirror until it shone, then placed our wedding photo directly across from it, framed, polished, intentional. It would be the first thing she'd see after washing his scent off her. In the nightstand drawer, I slid in a manila folder labeled Daniel M. Lang, accounts, devices, audio transcripts. On top of it, I placed his wedding ring. Not mine. His. The ring he hadn't worn in weeks, claiming it was cutting into his grip during workouts. On the porch, I tied the silk scarf to the railing, the one he bound around my wrist during our vows. I didn't tie it tight, just enough to flutter if the wind shifted. Grant checked the camera feed from his phone. Angles locked, audio synced. He opened a second bag and pulled out a bottle of red wine and 2 glasses. Vinegar, same label. He smirked, but it didn't reach his eyes. We left the fridge stocked with food, but each item was deliberately chosen. Vegan protein bars from a brand Alina hated, a block of aged cheddar she claimed caused inflammation, and worst of all, a frozen chicken lasagna. Her bio stated she hadn't consumed meat in 12 years. Why the lasagna? Grant asked. Because she'll think he chose it, and then wonder why. He nodded. Cruel. Effective. On the coffee table, I left a book, Radical Honesty by Brad Blanton, one of Alina's favorites, per her recent book list. Inside it, I had underlined a passage in red ink. Most people lie not to deceive others, but to protect the delusion they're still good. I didn't leave a note. I wanted her to wonder. We parked our car a half-mile down the trail, past the bend, hidden under trees, cloaked under netting. Grant wore gloves, cleaned surfaces, checked motion sensors. I took nothing personal inside. No phone, no wallet, no ring. Just me, and the version of me who'd stopped begging to be loved. We returned to the cabin from the back trail, the less visible route. Steep, narrow, brush-heavy. We entered through the storm cellar. No lights, no sound, just static in the air, and the slow creak of power shifting hands. We positioned ourselves in the loft crawl space above the main room, tucked beneath insulation and darkness. We had air vents, audio, cameras, clear visuals, and nothing but time. They arrived at 7:38 p.m. His car door slammed too hard. Nervous energy. Alina stepped out laughing, that faux mystic laugh she used in videos, always a half octave too high, like she was trying to transcend gravity. She wore a long, sheer dress and no bra. He wore his hiking boots, open flannel, and nothing beneath it. I recognized the flannel. It was mine. They didn't knock, didn't hesitate, just entered, arms locked, like it was their sacred space. I watched as he swept her into the kitchen and kissed her. Hard, confident, the way he used to kiss me after job interviews. You smell like firewood, she whispered. I smell like you, he said. She twirled, saw the wedding photo in the bathroom. Paused. What's this doing here? I don't know. I thought I packed that box. He moved to remove it. She stopped him. Leave it. Let's reclaim it. I almost laughed. Almost. They poured wine, took a sip. Their faces curled in confusion. Did we get the wrong bottle? No, he said. This is earthy. Maybe oxidized? She shrugged. It's still sacred. He toasted. To choosing ourselves. They clinked glasses, drank, made love, in our bed, on my grandfather's mattress, next to the floorboard where my wedding ring lay, 1 inch from betrayal. Afterward, she hummed a mantra into his chest. He stroked her hair, said, Baby, I think I'm finally whole. Grant's hand flexed around the recorder. The red light blinked. She asked, You're never going back, right? He didn't answer, just kissed her neck. You're not running anymore. This is you. This is real, she said. He nodded, then whispered, I love you, baby. And that's when Grant whispered to me, Showtime. We descended the stairs slowly, quiet, calm. She was wrapped in a throw. He was naked, barefoot, standing at the window with a mug of untouched wine. He turned first. His eyes registered confusion, then recognition, then collapse. Alina didn't move. Grant stepped forward, raised the phone, pressed stop. Got it. Daniel stammered something. I didn't catch it. I held up the scarf, unfolded it, dropped it on the ground. You left this behind. He didn't speak, just looked at the scarf like it was a snake, like it would strike. Alina finally said, Evelyn, this isn't what it looks. Grant slapped her, not hard, not violent, just a line across the face, a punctuation mark. She gasped, not in pain, in disbelief. You called him baby, he said, with my name still on your license. I stepped closer, handed Daniel the manila folder. He opened it, flipped the first page, stopped. That's your Spotify login, your email password, your search history, the dates, the overlaps. He looked up at me, mouth open. You counted. I categorized. Alina tried to speak. Grant held up a second phone, pressed play, her voice, moaning, laughing, telling him to leave me because I was too emotionally structured. Daniel sat down, not in defeat, not in apology, in nothing, like someone watching a house burn down that he didn't realize he'd built. I stepped outside. The air smelled like cinnamon and rot. Behind me, Grant said, You'll want to check the wine bottles. One's labeled, one's not. He followed me out. We didn't speak on the walk back. No debrief, no laughter, no victory lap. Just the sound of leaves underfoot, and the silence of two people done talking. Daniel sat naked on the edge of the bed, the same bed we bought during our 2nd year of marriage, back when he still asked if I liked firm or soft, before he started answering for me. Now, he just looked small. Alina didn't cry, didn't rage, didn't even cover herself. She stood there, hair a mess, one hand frozen on her neck. As if she could hold on to the last moment her name didn't make people flinch. Grant leaned against the bedroom door. He hadn't spoken since the slap. He didn't need to. I placed the scarf on the dresser. Next to her, jade yoni egg and a stick of Palo Santo. "You left that outside?" I said. Daniel blinked. His mouth moved. No words came out. I walked to the closet and pulled out his backpack. The one he'd taken on our anniversary trip to Banff. Still had the sticker from the lodge where he said he finally felt connected again. I unzipped it, pulled out a worn copy of The Untethered Soul, opened to the bookmarked page and read aloud, "The moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you gain the power to change it." I closed it, tossed it on the floor. "You changed everything," I said, "but not in the way you think." Grant pulled out his phone, opened a video, held it up so they could see the screen. It played Alina, straddling Daniel in a hotel room, telling him to make it sacred, telling him to let go of the old bonds. Daniel tried to reach for it. Grant pulled it back. "That's already backed up in 3 places. One to your work email, one to mine, one to my lawyer." Alina swallowed hard. "That was private. So was our marriage," Grant cut in. Daniel stood up, tried to speak. His voice cracked. "Ev, I didn't mean for this to hurt you. You meant for it to be secret," I said. "The hurting was just a byproduct." He moved toward me, exposed, still trying to control the narrative with posture and soft eyes. I held up my phone, opened a note app, scrolled. "You started texting her 116 days ago. First message was about a dream. Third was sexual. 17th, you called her your first real breath in years. The same day we had dinner with my parents." He froze. I looked at Alina. "He sent you a photo of our garden and told you he imagined you barefoot there. That was 2 days after I miscarried." Silence. The thick, heavy kind. The kind you can't speak through. Daniel sat again, head in his hands. "I didn't touch him." Grant cleared his throat. "I've filed for divorce. The papers are in your inbox." He looked at Alina. "You'll see we're splitting assets 70-30 in my favor." Based on the adultery clause, she opened her mouth, closed it. I walked into the living room, grabbed a folder off the table, set it down next to Daniel. Inside were copies of the following: the deed to the cabin, the marriage certificate, the estate clause from my grandfather's will, and a notarized letter removing Daniel as an emergency contact from my medical records. "You don't get to die in my name anymore." Daniel shook his head. "You can't just erase me." "You erased yourself," I said. "I just stopped redrawing you." Grant handed me the second phone, the one from the car. I opened the photos, deleted the album labeled Soul Work, then opened the cloud backup, forwarded it all to his parents, and to the HR director at his firm. "Standard procedure," I said. "You signed a morality clause, remember?" Alina finally found her voice. "You don't understand what this was. What we were healing?" "You weren't healing," I said. "You were hiding, and now you're visible." Daniel tried again. "Please don't do this to me." "I'm not doing anything to you," I said. "I'm letting you experience what you created." I turned to leave. Grant followed. Daniel called after me. "Evelyn, where are you going?" "Home," I said. "Where you no longer live." On the porch, I paused, looked out at the tree line. "You should check the lasagna in the freezer," I added. "Chicken, her favorite." As we walked down the path, Grant asked, "You going to tell your daughter?" "He has 24 hours. After that, I will." "You think he will?" "He's always talked about transformation," I said. "Now he gets the chance." We didn't talk the rest of the walk back. Didn't need to. We'd already said everything that mattered. The silence after exposure is louder than the betrayal itself. It fills the hallways, the inbox, the space in the bed that you still don't sleep on. Daniel didn't come home. I didn't ask where he went. He texted once. "Can we please talk before you do anything drastic?" I didn't reply. Instead, I sent him one message. "You have 24 hours to tell your daughter, or I will." He didn't respond, but I saw the read receipt. He always forgets those are on. The next morning, our daughter got an email. Not a call, not a visit, an email. She didn't cry. She came into my room holding her phone like it was something dying. "Is this true?" I nodded. "It's worse than what he told you." She sat on the floor and didn't speak for 20 minutes, then asked one question. "Was it me? Was it because of me?" That was the first time I felt rage. Not cold, strategic fury. Actual heat behind my teeth. "No," I said. "He did this because of him. You just happened to exist nearby." I didn't send her the recordings, but I sent her the wedding photo. The one Alina stared at while brushing her teeth. The one Daniel pretended he didn't know was still there. By noon, the video was out. Grant had posted a single clip. Blurry, no faces, just audio. Alina's voice. "Make it sacred. You're not hers anymore." Then Daniel whispering, "I love you, baby." Then the sound of skin hitting skin. Then silence. The caption read, "She called him baby. He forgot his vows." I remembered everything. It was reposted over 100 times in 6 hours. I didn't share it. I didn't have to. My phone lit up like a confession booth. Friends, acquaintances, his coworkers, even his sister. What happened? I didn't answer anyone. Just sent a group text to my side of the family. I'm safe. I'm done. I won't explain further. My mother replied with a prayer emoji. My brother sent a photo of a whiskey bottle and the words, "Good, burn the rest." I emailed Daniel's HR director. Attached screenshots of messages Alina sent from his work laptop. Schedule overlaps, company card expenses. No commentary, just the facts. 24 hours later, he was put on unpaid leave pending internal review. Alina was removed from her affiliate partnerships. Her Soul Work Sundays were canceled indefinitely. Comments disabled. She posted a statement, "Healing is messy. Transformation is never linear. Sometimes people get hurt along the way. But love is still sacred." Grant responded with a photo of their wedding ring, dropped in a river. No caption. I canceled the joint account, transferred my portion, left his frozen, sent the statement to the bank, pending legal investigation for misappropriation of marital funds. The cabin key was returned in a padded envelope. No return address, just the key, and a single torn page from The Untethered Soul. I didn't open it. I threw it into the fire pit where his boots used to sit. Daniel texted again. "Please, don't destroy everything. We had years." I replied, "You destroyed it. I'm just documenting the debris." 2 days later, I sat across from our daughter at the kitchen table. She asked me if I hated him. "No," I said. "I outgrew him." She asked if I'd forgive him. That's not a word I use anymore. The story kept spreading. People from Alina's women's group began emailing me, apologizing, telling me she'd used similar language with their husbands. Said she had soul ties with half the group. One of them sent me screenshots from a private retreat group chat. Alina had shared a quote Daniel wrote to her. "She is security. You are freedom." He'd written that about me. I forwarded that to our daughter, let her see who her father became. Grant sent me a thank you card, handwritten. Inside was a single sentence. "Some people break silence, some become it." I mailed him back the wedding photo from the cabin. On the back, I wrote, "Both." I received an email from Daniel's lawyer the next day. He wanted to open a discussion about amicable separation. I replied once, "Tell him to bring everything, especially the truth." I never heard from Alina again. She disappeared from social media, deleted her public email, closed her website, but I saw her once, weeks later, at a gas station just outside town. She looked thin, nervous, was wearing sunglasses at night, paid in cash. She didn't see me, but I watched her buy a bottle of cheap wine and a pack of gum. That was the last time she appeared in my life. Daniel still texts, still sends long, winding messages about growth and identity and shame, still uses the word sacred like it absolves him. I don't reply anymore. I just let him talk into the void. The last thing I sent him was a screenshot of the video views, 1.3 million, no caption. He didn't write back after that. I didn't keep the cabin. I reclaimed it, cleaned it from top to bottom, slept there once more, alone, lit every candle my grandmother left behind, burned the scarf, the journal, the last page of his book, scrubbed the floorboards with salt, closed the guest book for good. Then I took the deed out of the safe and signed it over to a trauma recovery nonprofit that shelters women leaving emotionally abusive marriages. No fanfare, no press release, just a FedEx envelope with a post-it. "May this space be honest again." 3 weeks passed. Daniel didn't reach out again. Not after the views hit 2 million. Not after his father told him he'd never come to another Christmas if Alina showed up. Not after I changed my emergency contact from him to my daughter. He was still posting things, though. Anonymous. Bitter. Reddit threads about emotional weaponization and modern women lacking compassion. He deleted them once I commented with a waving hand emoji. I changed my name. Not back to my maiden name. To my grandmother's. Lang is gone. I'm Evelyn Marlowe now. I got a new driver's license, new bank accounts, new locks, new stillness. Grant emailed once more. Not a question, not a proposal, just a photo. The cabin in early fog. A tree growing just outside the front window. Beneath it, a wooden plaque. "Let things grow again." I didn't reply, just stared at it, then printed it, framed it, hung it beside the kitchen sink where his coffee mugs used to sit. I still get messages from strangers, from women who say I gave them the spine they forgot they had, from men who say thank you for showing what consequences look like. I don't answer most, but I read them, because I know this story isn't just mine anymore. It never was. I saw Daniel once in public, at a bookstore, of all places. He looked thinner, older, trying to act normal. He didn't see me. He was too busy looking over his shoulder. I didn't follow him, didn't approach, didn't linger. I just walked out, into the cold, where everything was mine again. There was a bench just outside the cabin trail I used to sit on as a girl. I went there last week, for the first time in years. Brought a thermos, a pen, a notepad, wrote one sentence. He never called anyone baby again. Then I left the notepad on the bench and walked into the woods. That's all for this story. I'll be back with another one. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It motivates me to create more content like this.